I'm going to start recording too, so for anybody watching this later who couldn't make it, you get all the alpha as well. All right, well, welcome everybody. Yeah, this is cool. So this is like a super exciting time for the Knights. There's so much going on. We have a lot to look forward to. June and July are going to be like intense around here. I'm actually really excited. So I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd, a couple new faces. So yeah, this is exciting. Let's start by talking about Mydsummer Madness, because this is kind of the umbrella under which everything else sits. So this is a 3-week event, and there's kind of 3 parts to it. There's the Mint, which are villagers, regular and blessed, and we'll talk more about those in a second. The event itself, which is 3 weeks with weekly leaderboards, crazy amount of prizes tied in with the Bridge World Harvester, and then the Harvester itself, which is Thundermane, this magical, airy, wind-filled horse from Bridge World that's opening, and then we get 3,000. This has been renamed to Ancient Permits. For the KOTE community, they each get 2,000 magic each, and we'll all be able to kind of coordinate this harvester strategy together. So for people who maybe aren't aware of what Bridge World is or how harvesters work and all that good stuff, we'll get into that as well. You'll leave here today kind of with a great overview. So let's start with the Mint. And I know probably some of you have seen this before. We've talked about it on Twitter a little bit. But there's 2 types of villagers available to mint starting on June 21st. And so there's a basic villager, which is free, and a blessed villager, which is $33. The basic villager is, unlimited supplies, kind of an open edition during the 3 weeks. It's 1 per wallet because it's really more about having access to the game, playing through the maps each day. You can earn common and uncommon gear, but you're not able to earn like the higher rarity gear, which is the stuff that you can buy and sell and trade on the treasure marketplace. And you can't compete in leaderboards. So just kind of a free entry. It's a way for people to try out the game. Do I like this? Do I see myself playing this every day? And then maybe you go back and buy the slightly more expensive version, the Blessed Villagers, which are still quite cheap, I think, by Web3 gaming standards. But we like this kind of lower price point. It's an easy kind of first step into the ecosystem. Knights and Squires range about $100. Maybe more. And so this is a way for people to get in, play the game, and kind of be a part of a little bit of the competitive and earning aspect without having to, go all in with hundreds of dollars, because we're very keen to, bring as many people from as many walks of life and come in and play the game without like a huge overhead. I think that's important. So this is also unlimited supply. There's a limit of 10 per wallet. I mean, we all kind of know the wallet limit is somewhat arbitrary. You can spin up as many wallets as you want, but it just keeps it simpler for the armory. You're not going to have 40 villagers to scroll through. Some people already have like that nice problem to have of having 60 knights to scroll through in the armory, and it's just not as cohesive of an experience. It's fun to keep scrolling through all those, but that's what we're kind of trying to limit there. With this, you get basically full access to Blightfell. You get to play all the daily maps. You can compete in the leaderboards, and you can sell your gear because you're earning both the rare, epic, and legendary gear, or at least you have the ability to. Obviously, it's going to come down to your RNG a little bit, right? When you beat that boss each day in the map, it's going to drop 1, 2, or 3 pieces of gear, and it's going to be varying rarities. If it's blue, purple, or orange, rare, epic, or legendary, then you'll be able to bridge it onto chain, sell it on treasure marketplace, or if you want to kind of put together a really cool villager, you'll be able to buy those pieces that other people are picking up. It's going to be exciting. The legendary ones are really only going to drop once in a small percentage, so it'll be cool to see who picks those up, who ends up buying those, all that fun stuff. So the free ones I forgot to mention, but they're soulbound forever. It's more about you just own this. This is your character. There's no earning involved. For the Blessed Villagers, they are soulbound to start, but only until the end of early access. Now, that doesn't mean the end of the Mydsummer Madness event. That means the end of early access, which is something that we're still deciding when that actual cutoff will be. That will be sometime during 2023. So just know you will be able to trade those around eventually. And we're working on a way to be able to kind of pack the gear that you want into a certain villager or a certain knight and then sell it as a single bundle on Treasure. I think that'll be really cool. If anybody's kept up with some of the new stuff coming out of Ethereum, there's 6551, which is this kind of now all NFTs have their own wallets. They're called token bound accounts. And so you might be able to stuff all of the gear pieces that you want for a specific villager inside that NFT itself and then sell it as a bundle. So that's really cool. It's kind of like play to own and level up a character, add new gear onto it, and then maybe resell that to somebody else. Or if you're coming in later on and you really want this combination of gear and you can't find the pieces on the marketplace, you could buy a villager or a knight with those specific pieces of gear kind of inside of it. I think that'll be really cool. So yeah, this kind of shows the comparison chart. Like, if you've ever bought computer parts online, like, this is how they kind of show it. Like, this is what you get for the free version, the basic villager, and this is what you get for the blessed villager. And so we'll talk more about, like, what it means to earn fief. Like, obviously blessed villagers will be earning way less fief than knights, because knights are kind of heavier earners. There are kind of one of the peak assets in our ecosystem right behind Genesis Knights. And you are eligible for harvester parts. We'll talk about that more. So now we go into which method of minting is best for you. And this just kind of depends what you want out of the Mydsummer event and out of, playing Blightfell more generally. If you just want to try out the game and have fun, get the basic villager. It's free. You're going to pay, cents on the dollar for gas on Arbitrum, because these are all Arbitrum NFTs. And go in and have fun, play the game. If you want to earn some gear, want to have access to kind of the higher rarity gear to deck out your character with the coolest pieces, and you also want to kind of play competitively in the leaderboards, you want a blessed villager, so you get kind of more access to that side of things. And then if you're really all in, you want to be like kind of, buying and selling and trading things. You want to kind of go for those ancient permits. Then you're going to want, maybe a couple of blessed villagers. Knights are great because you get to go 2 expeditions per 24 hours instead of 1, which is what the blessed villager does. And then also, to get a shot at the Bridgeworld ancient permits even more so, there's the Oathkeeper's insignia, because more ancient permits drop for our battle pass holders. But we'll get into that as well when we talk about this other article. So that's kind of the mint. If anybody has questions on that, we could maybe do some typed questions just on the mint now, or if something comes up later, throw it in the chat here or in the AMA questions, or in general. I'll check everywhere, but ideally here in chat, so I can kind of just scroll right over. Yeah, but I'll keep an eye on that and type out questions if you have it, and I'll keep going here. So, is there a supply cap for blessed villagers? No, it's open edition. It's based off of however many are minted during the 3-week period, but no more may be minted after that 3-week period is done. So it's a time cap, not a supply cap. Yeah, are you planning any live events during the Mydsummer Madness? Oh boy, we got some events for you. So I'm going to go through all of the different events right now. All the stuff kind of happening under the umbrella of Mydsummer Madness. There's a lot of cool stuff. So we got 3 weeks of nonstop action coming at you live. This is the first of 2 Madness events during 2023. So we're planning one for later this June 21st to start, which is kind of midsummer. And then we're planning one more for 6 months afterwards, December 21st, midwinter. And of course, it's can't always plan things exactly the right time 6 months out, but that's what we're kind of formulating. That's what we're looking forward to. So let's talk a little bit about this Mydsummer Madness, what's coming up here in less than 3 weeks. So the only way to earn gear as a villager or a knight is to earn it during a Madness event. So there's only so many weapons and armor that the Royal House can kind of like emit and reward you with for your time in Blightfell. So the best time to earn gear, the only time to earn gear, except for a few small pieces based on the battle pass, is during the Madness event. Or other than that, you're going to have to pick it up on the secondary market afterwards. So how does the Mydsummer Madness event work? you ask? That's a great question. So the new handcrafted maps every 24 hours with millions of variations in the meta. So this is really cool. We have the ability to go in and handcraft the Blightfell map for every single 24-hour period during the 3 weeks of the event. And so that means all sorts of fun stuff where, one of the events we're planning is Goblin Town. So every single interaction you have on the map, every combat is going to be full of different types of goblins. That's going to be super fun. Or Elite Fell, which is only elite monsters, while you have a starting HP of 1, which is super intense, but I think will be really challenging and fun as well. And then something like Flight School, only floating and flying monsters. So we have the ability to change a lot of different variables, how long the map is, what types of enemies you're fighting, the cars you're using, what the rewards are after each combat. This is really exciting. We're also going to do an event, a competition, to have people come up with their own versions of what they think a really cool map will be. That will be one of the Zeely quests coming up. And so if you guys have ideas, if maybe you've played Blightfell a few times, definitely think through what your idea of a sick map would be. We have access to change a lot of the different kind of variables within it. So come up with some cool stuff. We'd love to implement that for kind of the back half of Mydsummer Madness. Blindfolded play. Yeah, well, we can't oversee that. That might be tough to confirm or deny, but I like where your head's at there. That's fun. Yeah, you have to record yourself playing. Send vids. Okay, so we're going to have kind of daily competitions. So the kind of pace of Mydsummer Madness is this 24 hours. The map changes every 24 hours at midnight UTC, which is about it's like 4 p.m. PST for people on the West Coast. But yeah, so that's the time it's going to change every 24 hours. And so there will be different daily challenges associated with that 24-hour one, something maybe speed running or beat the boss with max health, and this will make you eligible for prizes. And there's also weekly leaderboards. So there's 3 weekly leaderboards, week 1, week 2, and week 3. So the way this works is that it's the top 10 players at the end of every week. You can play as many times as characters you have, blessed villagers and knights, and your best score from each of those days is added up over those 7 days for that weekly leaderboard, if that makes sense. So say you have 3 characters, you have 2 knights, and you get 1 blessed villager during the mint. So you're going to be able to complete 3 runs every 24 hours. So, sorry, 4 runs. You have 2 knights and 1 blessed villager. You're going to be able to complete 5 rounds because you get 2 per knight and you get 1 per blessed villager. So 5 expeditions per day, and your top score out of those 5 expeditions each day will go up on the daily leaderboard, and then over the week, your best score out of those 5 expeditions for each day will be added 7 times, and that's your weekly score at the end of week 1, 2, and 3. And if I did an awful job of explaining that, there will be graphics for you to go through and get that better into your brain space there. So that's how that works. But obviously week 1 doesn't mean that you can't do well in week 2 or week 3. And then alongside the regular week 3 leaderboards, which everybody can compete in, there is a single elimination bracket tournament happening in the last week. And so the top 10 players from the first 2 weekly leaderboards are eligible to compete for prizes in a single elimination bracket tournament where you go up 1v1 on that day's map. And so that'll happen 4 different days throughout that week 3. The last one will be live streamed. We'll do a kind of a tournament narration and everything. And so how that works, it's the top 8 from the first 2 weeks, and then there'll be 2 alternates just in case somebody is a no-show for those 1v1s. So that would be places 9 and 10 on week 1 and 2. So then we also are having some exciting partner events with as many kind of cartridges and other Arbitrum Gaming peeps as possible. So that's going to be really fun. We have some cool integrations coming, some redacted stuff happening. So I'm not going to go too far into that yet, but just know that if you hold some of these other NFTs or some ones that aren't mentioned here, there's going to be some cool stuff for you as well. So we also have on top of just what's happening in Blightfell, there's a lot of cool like community stuff happening as well. Because like, you know, Web3 gaming, it's about the game as well. It's a lot about the game, but it's also about the community. It's about the kind of events going around the metaverse kind of area as well, different social media places, all that fun stuff. So we're doing meme contests, art contests, character contests, lore contests, dungeon builder contests, all sorts of stuff. So if you're skilled and, you know, maybe you're not the best deck building roguelike player, you're not amazing at Blightfell, but you have, you know, you're great at memes, you're an artist, Ethan, will you mute yourself? Then you'll be able to do all sorts of stuff to win prizes outside of Blightfell as well. 1 second, let me mute Ethan here. I don't think he knows he's on mute.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to interject real quick to give you 10 seconds to get your breath because you've been talking for 20 minutes straight. So I just want to say, love all of you in the audience. I know Abel wanted to hear my voice really quickly. I've got nothing productive to add to the conversation, but want to give you a quick little break there.
Yo, thank you. That's great. A dose of positivity from Dubber there. So, and then we also have, I don't know if you guys were around. I know some of you, I can tell from who's in the audience here, were around to do the last riddle of the missing, which was our kind of like alternate reality game, riddles, Wikipedia hunts, puzzles. We're going to do one of those per week during the Mydsummer event. Those are really fun. The last one was solved in like 5 hours by Renzetsu, which was epic. We were not expecting that, so he killed it. So we're going to make it even harder next time, but we're going to spread it out a little longer as well, because I know some people were like rushing to try and get through it. But that's going to be really fun. You can be the most gigabrain villager in the kingdom. So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff happening during Mydsummer Madness. If anything's unclear, feel free to drop questions in the chat here, and I'll go through them. There'll also be time at the end for anybody who wants to have questions or come up on stage, all that good stuff. So now, yeah, let's move on to the Harvester. So this is exciting. Look at this badass thing. This is Thundermane, the Bridgeworld Harvester that is coming to the Knights of the Ether Kingdom. Okay, so Harvesters are ancient beasts imbued with an arcane force in Bridgeworld, set free to roam the multiverse. Villagers and knights must scavenge Blightfell for ancient permits left behind by the Changer in order to approach these beasts and extract one of the most precious resources known to man, magic. So, how this works is that if you aren't familiar with Harvesters, I have a feeling that most of you here kind of know, at least on a surface level, what they are. It's a place where you stake magic using certain, what used to be called harvester parts, but are now renamed to ancient permits. You stake magic and you get magic in return on a daily, weekly basis based off of how much magic you have staked in there, how many legions are staked in that harvester as well to boost the percentage, how much corruption has been seeping into your harvester, and that can be sent from other people in their different harvesters. There's I want to say there's currently 5 harvesters, and there will be 2 more added, a beacon and a Knights of the Ether one. And other people are trying to raise their boost percentage as much as possible. So they're trying to lower our boost percentage. And so what's going to happen is we're going to play this kind of tug of war game like PETA was talking about in our general chat earlier, where we need to fully stake all of our magic with as many ancient permits as we have. We need to stake as many squires as possible to get the boost percentage up. We need to have legion owners go through and craft extractors so that our extractors are always up and running. And we need to be crafting corruption and ridding our own harvester of corruption. So there's a lot of different pieces to it, and it uses both Bridgeworld assets and Knights of the Ether assets. So you need villagers, knights, and Oathkeeper's insignias or battle passes to find the ancient permits in Blightfell, and then you need squires and different squires items to help with boosting the harvester once all the magic is in there. And then you also need legions from Bridgeworld to craft extractors in order to add to boost as well. So it's going to be really crucial that we have Bridge World players and KOTE players in there. Even better if we have crossover between people who own both KOTE stuff and Bridge World stuff. That's going to be really helpful. And yeah, like Crypto's saying, need to understand Bridge World better to do this. We have some giga brains in here. I'm not even the best person probably to describe this because I haven't participated in harvesters before. Obviously, I've gotten myself up to speed over the past couple months getting ready for this. But yeah, you're going to want to maybe talk to some people like how do we remove and transfer corruption? That will all come down the line. PETA's still working on the exact mechanics. And also what we're going to want to do, Beacon starts their harvester event before ours. And so we can pay attention to how it works with theirs and what they're doing well, and we can kind of adapt some of our strategy to fit that. So yeah, do these assets go to a staking site? So yeah, that's one important thing. Is so the way this works is that we're gonna have a UI that's Knights of the Ether Harvester specific, where you go to put your ancient permits and magic in, where you go to stake your squires, where you go to put the extractors in. It's going to be kind of a one-stop shop for all that stuff. But one important piece is that you can't be sending your squires out to quest in the squires questing site in the bridge contract and staking them on the harvester at the same time. Oh no, I know, crypto BKK. Oh no. So that's important. We need to figure out how much are people willing to kind of like maybe split their squires down the middle. I know not everybody wants to give up their questing time, but we need to be able to boost the harvester as much as possible. So there's a lot about coordinating as a team and like all of us kind of playing tug of war evenly and contributing our part. So we're going to create a kind of council of elders, people who own the Oathkeeper's insignias and have ancient permits, and we'll all come together and we'll really game it out and how we can do the best job to get the kind of highest boost percentage for the KOT harvester while it's up. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty exciting. I'm hyped for it. We're gonna obviously have to work together. So can we stake items? Yes, there'll be certain items from squires. We don't know exactly which ones yet. Some probably potions and trinkets that add to the boost percentage, and certain stuff from Bridge World Legions as well. So yeah, I know that's an info dump. There's a lot of information here. Let's go over a little bit about how ancient permits are distributed in Blightfell. Bard, I don't like this already. All my squires will support all your squires staking in Bridge World mentally. No. We're going to need some of the Bard squires in the Harvester. Well, we could discuss. All right, so the ancient permits are distributed as follows. During the 3-week event, 1,500 go to the 1,500 Oathkeeper's insignias. So that's a different mint. We're going to talk about that in a second. It's the battle pass. One aspect of that battle pass is this kind of harvester integration. And so by buying one Oathkeeper's insignia, you have a guarantee to get one ancient permit for the harvester by playing just at least once during the event. So you got to go in and try Blightfell as well with the wallet that holds those Oathkeeper's insignias. 1,000 more will be attainable for people who own Oathkeeper's insignias and are playing the game with their knights and villagers and are on these achievement leaderboards. These are kind of like hardcore leaderboards where it's all about most enemies killed in a day, or like doing the most damage in one strike during a day, or like finishing the most quickly, like, what is a speed run? So they're different leaderboards, not just about your top score during that day, but about different sort of novelty hardcore achievements while playing the game itself. And so 1,000 ancient permits will be distributed that way. It won't just be for people who are topping those leaderboards. It'll also be distributed kind of randomly amongst people on that entire leaderboard. So even if you're like not great at Blightfell, you can't seem to get it down even throughout the whole 3-week event, which would be tough. Obviously, there's going to be plenty of people here to help you do better. Even if that's the case, you're still going to be able to get these. It's really about showing up and playing, and that ups your chances to get more than just one ancient permit per Oathkeeper's insignia. So finally, the last 500 out of the 3,000 total can be won just regularly by villagers and knights through missions or in the daily challenges, or just the regular weekly leaderboards. Just showing up and playing, beating the boss each day, you're going to be eligible to get some of those 500 ancient permits. So that's how that distribution works. So the KOT harvester is open for an estimated 6 months. We don't know exactly how long. It depends about how quickly other harvesters are taken over in this kind of harvester wars. So the way it's starting right now is that KOTE and Beacon are getting 2 brand new harvesters, and then another harvester later down the line is going to be taken over by a different game, and then another harvester taken over by a different game, and so on and so forth in kind of this rotating fashion. So we won't be able to stay in our harvester forever, but we're estimating, something like 6 months. Can't say exactly for how long we'll be in ours. So during that time, we're going to have the Council of Elders, which are going to hopefully be harvester experts with legions and squires. We can all kind of strategize like I talked about earlier. That's going to be really fun. And then an important part of this, the successful harvesters so far, the ones run by groups of people kind of like with teams at the helm. So specifically the harvester that Battlefly is in, they are always doing the best because they are committed to spending a lot of their money they're getting from the harvester on keeping the harvester boosted. So it's important for us as the KOTE team bringing magic in through our Oathkeeper insignia mint. We're going to be using magic emissions we get from that, at least 50%, to ensure we have the highest boost possible. We're staying up on our extractors, we're crafting the right stuff. So it's important that we can kind of lead the charge. I'm going to be at the front of the cavalry charging, down into to Helm's Deep or whatever. I guess I'm Gandalf in this situation, which is cool. So that's the plan there. We're excited to kind of work with you all on that. So then also, this is the alpha right here. This is crazy. So after Mydsummer Madness, obviously this is a 3-week event. It's going to be over before we know it. It's going to be super fun. We have a bunch of stuff coming, expanding the core game loop, second stage, gear buff functionality, adding more stuff into Squires, integrating it with the core game Blightfell, interop with all sorts of cool games, reaffirming transparency and co-creation of Blightfell with our community as we start heading towards a PvP version of our game. Obviously, we need to finish the single-player version first, but we have an amazing vision. We've got a bunch of documents and a huge kind of game concept design all laid out for what PvP might look like, but we're excited to build it alongside you guys and have community input, so that's going to be really fun. And then elevating the vision of Merlin Games to include a new infrastructure initiative. So we're also building out a product, and we'll talk more about that later on, but this is something that all kind of Knight holders and people in the KOT ecosystem can benefit from, and we can all build together, so that's really exciting. Yeah, so that's the Mydsummer Madness. I know it's a lot. I've been talking for 30 minutes straight here, but let me take a break, and if there are any questions, I see there's a bunch of chat coming through. I have not kept up with it, so let me scroll back through here for a sec. Okay, cool. Yeah, just a lot to talk about Bridge World and stuff. Okay, awesome. So yeah, any questions, obviously throw them in there. Let me check general real quick too. Okay, nothing in there. Nice. All right, well, let's move along then. So Oathkeeper's Insignia, the first Blightfell Battle Pass. I'm hyped on this. Oh, back to the new token-bound wallet. Once you own the bundled NFT, can you unbundle it? Yes. So in the same way that you send NFTs from one wallet to another, you can send them from one token-bound wallet to another. They're not stuck there. What might happen, though, is that it needs to be kind of cemented in if you're putting it up for sale, because say someone puts something up for sale, it's a blessed villager with 10 gear pieces bundled inside of it, and then right before it sells, they unbundle it, but that's not shown on the marketplace. There could be issues there. Obviously, we'll figure it out. 6551 is super new, but yeah, there should be kind of the ability to bundle and unbundle, but maybe you need to kind of cement it in if it's listed for sale on the marketplace, something like that. But yeah, that's a little bit down the line. We'll figure that out. So good question though. Yeah, Oathkeeper's Insignia. So this is hype. I don't know about you guys. I think this art is freaking sick. This is kind of showcasing that all 4 of the royal houses are coming together for this Mydsummer event when the portal is at its most powerful, when people from all over the Kingdom of Ether can send themselves through the portal as villagers and return back and be rewarded from the royal house's armory with amazing gear, weapons, shield, all that cool stuff. So June 12th is when we're minting this, so that's pretty close. That's about a week from tomorrow. So this is the first Blightfell Battle Pass. It's going to last for 6 months. Okay, so this is a pretty long-term battle pass. This is June 21st to December 21st. And there's a bunch of different perks this comes with, so let's go through them one by one. So specifically quests. You know, you get 1 Bridgeworld Ancient Permit per Oathkeeper's insignia, guaranteed. And then you also get the ability to compete in these novelty leaderboards centered around hardcore weekly challenges for epic prizes and the chance to earn extra ancient permits. So that's important. You know, if you're like, if you want to be a harvester maxi for the KOT harvester, you're going to want a few Oathkeeper's insignias, and you want to play each day, try and get the most out of those to get as many ancient permits so you can stack all your magic in that harvester. Also, exclusive cosmetics. So this is cool. So when I said earlier that all gear that's earnable is during Mydsummer Madness events, that's except for these exclusive cosmetics that come for the Battle Pass, and those will be spread out across the 6 months around some different events. We're excited about those. We're working on those already. Some of them are kind of like reimaginings of certain gear pieces that already exist. Like, you know, you might know the Dread Helmet, but we're gonna make like a, you know, like a dark blood red version, or the gold scythe, but we'll add some flames to it, so that's going to be really fun. Yeah, where's our flaming cucumber? Stevie asking the really hard-hitting questions. I appreciate that. So I do say right here, vote on which types of night cosmetics you'd like to earn during season 1. I'll hold myself to that. If we want the flaming cucumber as to be one of like the 10 legendary gear pieces, by all means, guys, vote it into existence. You know, manifest your best reality here. So that can happen. We'll put stuff up to a vote for sure. I urge you to choose wisely on that front, but maybe wise is a flaming cucumber. So to each their own. Also, you're going to get a seat on the Council of Elders. This is kind of our round table, our place where everybody working on the harvester together is going to coordinate for the best yield on our staked magic. We're also going to have your vote count for more when we launch our upcoming decentralized infra. I was talking about that a little bit earlier. We're not going to go too deep into that now. That's for after Mydsummer Madness, but just know that it's kind of, there's some carry-on effects there that you'll get some cool stuff for. So then also just fun stuff like priority for whitelist giveaways that we do here in the Discord with your council member role. So that'll be fun. You'll get a unique role. You'll get to, you know, be separated on the sidebar there in the Discord. This also affects a little bit some stuff that you do in the Squires universe with crafting potions. Shops will be live in a twinkling, and you'll be able to have some expanded crafting options for potions specifically so that you can help tame Harvester corruption. And then also, you'll be the first in line to scoop up the next iteration of Oathkeeper's Insignia on December 21st when we go into the Season 2. So supply, there's 1,500 of them. The team is going to hold 80 of them, and so there'll be 1,420 public supply, 150 magic each, starting on June 12th, 10 a.m. PST, 5 max per wallet, soulbound until the end of Mydsummer Madness. So the idea here is, you know, maybe some people might just be buying them for the Harvester access. That's cool. You can sell them after Mydsummer Madness is over and ancient permits aren't being emitted anymore, maybe to someone who's more interested in the legendary cosmetics for the night. So that way it's not just only the people who buy on day 1 are able to have that access for that 6 months. And then, yeah, the Harvester overview. So this is where it gets a little intricate. Let's go through it a little bit here and just kind of talk it through. Also, this is probably something that I know personally I would read through it myself to kind of absorb the information instead of having someone explain it to me, but to each their own. But these are just kind of estimates, and it varies so much on what each harvester is emitting on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week basis, and especially over a longer time period, like an estimated 6 months. So, what we want to do here is kind of like give you an estimate, okay, of maybe what it might look like to have your magic staked with ancient permits in the KOT harvester. But obviously this is subject to change. This is kind of like some napkin math for you. So about 6 months, there's a halving coming up soon where the amount of magic emissions is actually being cut in half across the board. So that's why it changes from here to here. This is kind of a rough average of what our KOT harvester might emit over, all of the ancient permits staked. Each ancient permit lets you stake 2,000 magic, 6 million magic total in the harvester. This is an estimated what you might make per ancient permit. So, and then, based off of boost fluctuation and corruption, this is an estimated, maybe this is what you might get for having an ancient permit. Obviously, it totally depends. Like, there's no expectation of exact return here. This is just kind of the napkin math to give you an idea of how these things kind of work and what goes into it. And then we talked about this a little bit in the other Medium article, which is the emission structure, 1,500 on a one-to-one basis, 1,000 more for the hardcore leaderboards, and then 500 just for the regular leaderboards for all knights and blessed villagers. So yeah, and then talking a little bit about how the KOTE team will participate with our 80 ancient permits, staking all of our magic, receiving those emissions, pursuing the maximum boost percentage for everybody in the KOT harvester, and then also using some of those emissions for things like Squire and Blightfell incentives, community giveaways. We're going to definitely be incentivizing with KOTE ecosystem items as well for people committing certain things to the harvester. So there's going to be a lot of benefits to kind of participating in the harvester. Say you don't have a lot of magic to put into the harvester, so you don't feel like it's really for you. There's a space where, maybe you earn some of your ancient permits and you sell them to other folks who have more magic to use. So there's still a way for you to kind of participate there. But I would urge you, if you have some magic laying around, and it's not already in a harvester, definitely you probably want to put it in the harvester here and participate in the KOTE harvester games. So that'll be cool. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of the overview of all the good stuff coming up. We went through the Villagers Mint, we went through the Mydsummer Madness event, we went through the Harvester integration, and we went through the Oathkeeper's Insignia Mint. I know there's so much coming up. We have more infographics dropping. We'll have some explainer videos, a couple more Medium articles, so that all the information will be there. But of course, ask us questions anytime here in the Discord. You can always ping myself or Dubber or one of the mods. We're around. We like to, be as transparent and clear as possible so that everybody knows what to look forward to, what's going on in the KOTE world. So, yeah, I guess now is a good time for any questions. If anybody wants to type them out, come up on stage. When next build for testing? Yes, I guess we should talk a little bit about Blightfell, the game itself. Good call. So next build for testing will be this upcoming week. Whether that's Tuesday or Thursday, I'm not exactly sure. But what's really exciting is we've onboarded new devs. We've been working with them for 3.5 months now. They're really great. We had a huge merge of all of their code with all of the previous devs' code into this amazing new build. There's all these visual updates. It's super sick. A lot of the kinks have been ironed out. There's still some bugs that we need to polish. So we're going to do one more kind of round of community-wide testing coming up this week. We'll do a tournament. You guys get in there and do some bug fixes, also get those top scores. And we'll polish it up in anticipation of going live with Mydsummer Madness and bringing in a bunch of new folks to play. So that's exciting. Definitely keep an eye out this week to help us test with the new Blightfell build. That's going to be fun. Yeah, all right. Well, any other questions? Oh, there was one question here in AMA questions. SP asks, if we opt to stake our squires for a boost for the harvester boost, does that mean we can't also use them to quest? Got to choose one or the other. Yes, I think I chatted about that a little bit earlier, but yes, you do have to choose one or the other. That's kind of part of the strategy here, right? Is how do we split our resources through different places like our own game ecosystem or this harvester integration. We'll be obviously incentivizing people to help out with the harvester because kind of the rising tide lifts all boats, saying, and that it benefits everybody if we're all working together. So, yeah, you'll have to choose one or the other. Maybe people want to kind of split their squires half and half. some people who might kind of be whales and have a lot of magic in the harvester, they might just want to send all their squires to the harvester and stake them all. I like how Fluke casually made himself Gandalf in the story. Yeah, just casual, no ego here. Humble brag. Yeah. All right. Well, cool, everybody. Thanks so much for showing up. The purpose of this was to inform kind of the core Discord community members as much as possible moving into the ramp up here for the Mydsummer Madness. I expect we're going to have a lot of new joiners, a lot of people coming into play for the first time. So I'd really kind of urge you guys to be kind of evangelize for the community, kind of like be the face of the community and on Twitter and Discord and help out newcomers. It's kind of overwhelming a little bit going into a brand new Web3 game sometimes, right? So if we can do our best to like give people like simple and clear information, guide them through the steps, be patient with people as they try to get up to speed. It's really important to kind of foster that vibe in our ecosystem. So I wanted to make sure everybody here kind of knew what's coming, we're on the same page, and we can start kind of going out and helping new people as they join. So I appreciate everybody that showed up here. You guys are awesome for showing up on a weekend. I appreciate it. Bard of the Ether with a great question. How do we claim the Thundermane mount in Blightfell? Man, mounts and Knights of the Ether, that would just be so fun. Imagine rolling up into a Blightfell combat on the back of a horse and then like jumping off and starting your combat. That'd be sick. One day, maybe one day. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all. Of course, any questions come up later, feel free to ping me. But yeah, thanks for joining us for the AMA, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.